Hi there. This is a video about how our pathology system works, and particularly for U&Es and ACRs and CKD. So in this folder here, we've got IHS pathology, and today we're looking at this number 8, U&Es and ACRs. As with pretty much all these folders, we've first got a section to review individually. The top two are the key to really. So this first one is patients who ought to be considered for an ACE or an ARB in light of the recent ACR. The next one down looks for patients who perhaps should be under nephrology based on their CKD level or recent results, and where it doesn't appear that they're already under nephrology, looking at codes in the last 14 months or so. All of these link with our pathology overview template, which I'll show you, I think, in a different video. For now, I just want to focus on the kind of reports and how this side of things works. Coding review. So by and large, the system will identify exactly what CKD staging a patient is at, both for new and existing diagnoses. But there are times where there's a mixed picture and it's not straightforward to do that. So those are patients who need review. And then also some who are under nephrology but actually don't appear to have a CKD staging diagnosis. And again, perhaps that ought to be the case and it can't currently be picked up by the system. Section 1 then is looking at patients who need repeat tests to either confirm or rule out diagnoses. Now, if you're using our recall module, there's nothing really to do here. The recall module will tally in with that and bring patients in at the appropriate time. If you're not using that, then you may want to consider using this to invite patients in or linking that in with your own systems. This is the main bulk of reports here. And for this section, it doesn't delineate between new diagnoses and existing diagnoses that need updating, at least not in the reports and the codes that are attached to them. The logic behind it is a bit different. So for a new diagnosis, it will be looking for repeat tests that are more than 3 months apart. So for CKD 1 to 2, because that's driven by a raised ACR, it's looking for a raised ACR more than 3 months apart that's in the same bracket. Whereas for CKD 3 to 5, it's looking for repeated EGFR. However, if it's an existing diagnosis that it's updating, then, and they're already in clearly CKD 3A, say for example, their current code is CKD 3A, but we've got nothing about the ACR and they've now had an ACR, then like you can see here, this practice has 350 patients to add that code to. And that will be a mixture of new diagnoses and existing. Once that's been done, these reports will then pick up patients who need a letter that the system can generate to inform them of the new diagnosis. This is looking for diagnoses in the last 3 months without this code after it. And those letters will pre-populate with information about their latest EGFR, its date, what the CKD diagnosis means, what they can do about it. It'll offer a statin if appropriate. It'll offer sick day rules if they're on DAM drugs, things like that. So generally you would do this first, and then the next day patients will appear in here. Just be aware when you first run the system that in this report here will be patients who maybe have already been told about their diagnosis. You might want to review them. You could, if you wanted to, when you very first starting off, bulk code them if you're confident that they've all been informed, or you could leave them. Worst case, they're going to get a letter that explains a bit more about their diagnosis. Now, we're at QOF year end as I record this, so it may also be that you want to hit some new patients to sort out and update your QOF prevalence, but we also don't want to mess up our cholesterol target. So this section here is configured to patients who do not currently have a CKD 3 to 5 diagnosis and who are either on a statin or they're excluded from cholesterol 01. And with these, we can bulk code them. And this may be useful in general terms anyway, because doing this, we can also add it as a problem header. And one slight downside with this is that you probably don't want to add them all as a problem header because lots of patients may already have a CKD problem header. So what I'm going to do here just to illustrate with this practices agreement, obviously. I can come down, let me hide that, sorry, actions, add read code. So the code is there, so I can just type it in. Yep, that's the right one. And I can also put promote to problem. And severity, I think we'll put as major. And OK for that. I could also add a note in here based on latest results. Done. So tomorrow, those patients will drop into this report to have a CKD 3 letter. Now, just one other thing to say. When you first start running this, you will end up with some pretty chunky numbers in here. This is a pretty big practice, so the numbers are high. For your practice, it might be lower. When you've done this and cleared it, you then want to keep on top of it. And it actually then feels a bit cumbersome to kind of go through each individual one when often there'll only be a couple of patients each week in each report. So you may have noticed this protocol symbol over here. So we have developed a protocol that can auto-update the CKD staging in the background. Now, you want to satisfy yourself that you're happy with what the system's doing. Obviously, it's been tested and checked lots, used lots. But the way that can work is that when someone then is reviewing the U&E or the ACR off results, in the background, it will work out what the latest KFR is, if it's EGFR below 60, update the coding, and it will also add a note to explain what it's done and why. If you want that enabling, let us know. We can enable that for you. I wouldn't do that when you're starting with a few thousand patients to update, but once you've done that and you've got the system embedded, it just lets the system do the work for you and a bit less for you to do. Hope that helps. It can be quite a big change for a practice because you'll find patients are being better informed and their records get better up to date. But obviously it's great for patient care, which is what we're trying to improve here, and also saving some time and money too. Any questions, let us know. Thanks very much.